Before looking at the mixer capabilities, I'm just gonna make a small loop that can play as we're working. There. Also, keep in mind, this is not a tutorial about how to do great mixing, just how you would go about mixing inside teleport. So we already talked about selecting input and insert effects, sense, and of course there's level, which we haven't touched. You can click there to return to normal. Pan is here, and again there's a button to return to center. And I'm just going to turn that track down a little bit. But let's set up another scent just to repeat that. Let's add a reverb, epic burp. And of course I can then just turn up the scent and you can hear it. The solo switches here won't turn the buses off, so you can hear it, which is quite practical both as you're setting up and playing. There I can then of course turn it off and on. So just set something up here with this bass instruments. And make a few small changes here. Change the mode. Might change that later, of course, but just something. And adjust the level a bit. Then on the mellow, also a bit of reverb. Just gonna turn the loud max down a little bit. Store that. And add a M equalizer here. And just take some of the bottom off. And also a small dip here. Store that as mech mellow. And we haven't at all talked about side chaining, which you can do here. Like side drive is then what the channel drives with a attack and release in milliseconds. And I can then choose that as an input here, which number 1, and then above that the amount that I can exaggerate a bit. There you hear it. I just put a little bit on. Now, these two separated instrument bays over here have extra outputs that you can name, which is very handy when doing mixing. And it fits perfectly with the 8 output contact, for example. It takes a while to load contact. But there, I'll just drag a bass drum sample in here and just turn off tracking so it's play the same note no matter what, and just adjust the wait, I'm just gonna make it play first. Simply select fourth as input as well and choose the input. You see just the 4 contacts, but then when I go back in, and first I'm just gonna adjust the start point of the sample a little bit to make it less rough. That's pretty good. And then I can simply call that output kick and call the patch demo kit, and then build on that and have several different outputs that I can choose by name. You see here kick has already been updated. And there's some clicking here I would like to get rid of. I'll just adjust the Brazil patch a little bit, actually give it a little more texture, and then just adjust the attack. That's pretty good. I'm just gonna store it actually. And that's better. Now for the kick I could also have that sidechain driver, just make that quite short like this and select that as input on the bass and just turn that up some, exaggerate, and then take down, just punch in 1 actually, and I'm just gonna pump that kick just a tiny bit with loud max. Call that loud kick and store it. Now you can also change the output of the mixer channels down on the bottom here where it says pre for pre-mixer and post and polat, and then you can't see, but I can then select the bus directly. You can see here the buses default to polat, which is after a latch that you can route a MIDI button to and use to momentarily duck the sound. Pre would then be what I would normally use for a drum bus like this. And I'll add density to just pump that whole drum bus a little bit. Gonna store that as drum bus or den drum bus. And this one actually I will store as epic reverb. Finally, of course, you can use master effects. I'm gonna add another density and just find it. And I'll change that to limiter mode and call that Den Master. Just below the red rec button you see a spec button, by the way, which I could turn on to have a simple analyzer showing. See, with all that together it works quite well after with teleport. I'll probably adjust some more, but it's enough to get us started. Remember that you don't need to name anything as long as you just work on one song, but we are doing this so you could have completely different mixer settings for different songs and morph between them. So just store the mixer and store the main pane since we added that contact patch and save.